G'day mateys and welcome back to the Down Under Gamer channel. It is the Down Under Gamer here and we are back with episode 10 of our DEI 1.2.3e Rise of Rome Let's Play campaign. So obviously in the previous episodes we came in, we sieged Nuria and then smashed the garrison and the Norian army, which then came down to assist the garrison in a very decisive battle around some lovely little countryside villa. Defeated them quite soundly, obviously showing the power and the might of the Roman legions against, these early period barbarian armies. So that said, we then, obviously got peace with them. We have now pulled back to Cisalpina. We are now probably looking at attempting to obviously secure the rest of Cisalpina. So obviously that trade resource is livestock. So there we go. If I go into this, map view and hover over the icon, it tells me what it is. So obviously livestock, wine, grain. That's my governor, right? Olive oil, etc., etc., etc. So there we go. That's handy to know. It is what it is, guys. Obviously, I'm not the most experienced person with this mod or this game in general. But anyway, so that said, so what I will probably do this episode is we will look at recruiting another army. We're obviously making 6,400 a turn. So perhaps if we come down here to Arretium, so let's go raise forces. So what do we got? A 433, a 333, 333, 334, a 453. Okay, so we can reinstate a legacy, a legio to a Dutrix. So why not? Let's reinstate it. Let's recruit. I don't actually remember if we had any special skills or anything with these guys, but anyway, it is what it is. So we will pull him up here to the border. Now let us have a look. So the upkeep on them is 224. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my goodness, 7 at a time. That's almost criminal. Not really. That's pretty good, actually. So we will recruit another legion. By that stage, this guy will be fully reinforced, or at least he should be. And then we will move on the Insubre. So for the time being, let us have a look. Where is the Insubre? Here we go. So what packs do we have with them? Actually, it's not saying we've got anything with them. Oh yeah, we do. We've got a trade agreement and a non-aggression pact. So do you want to enter a non-aggression pact with this faction? Ending a treaty shortly after signing is considered an act of treachery and is condemned by all factions. Turns remaining 3. So look, 3 turns. By the time we've recruited that second army, reinforced our other one, the penalties from that will be gone, or at least, mostly gone. There'll probably be lasting effects, but hey, it is what it is. What about these guys? Nah, still don't want to trade. That's okay. They have come down here into Sicilia. So once we are done with Cisalpina, that will be our next target, is Sicilia, obviously triggering the First Punic War, and then we will deal with Epirus then.
I will listen carefully to your words.
Still no. Okay. So the Hellenic factions obviously don't like us very much, but that's okay. In time, they will learn to love us as the masters of Hellas that we are. So the Nori...
Guards of the afterlife, spare my arms.
No, he doesn't want a trade agreement. That's cool. So this way, what I can do is I can advance on the Insubres. I'll have 2 armies in the north, and I'll still have my smaller army in the south. So in the event that I do you know, maybe the Nori declare war on me again, or Syracuse decides to get a little bit ambitious, or Epirus or Carthage or whatever, then I still have a secondary army sitting down here that can kind of like respond. So that will be the plan. So let's have a quick look. No, I don't want to build anything there, don't want to build anything there, and don't want to build anything there. So obviously, guys, somebody mentioned at the beginning, you know, why did I, you know, build this here? Because obviously it's, you know, supply, yeah, fair enough. It is what it is. It's probably not a big deal at this point in time. But the army replenishment rate, because obviously when you start at war, you are at war with obviously the Etruscans and the Epirotes in the south. In previous builds in the mod where I played, where obviously you had Epirotes and the Etruscans up here, it was a very, very tough time and going. So that extra replenishment does you very, very well, because it gets your armies, you know, in a back into shape and back in the field early. Obviously, I haven't had that issue this particular game because we've, you know, we've quite successfully, how do we say, dispatched of our opponents. But that said, obviously, at a later point in time, as we expand our borders out further, then like the you know, the beloved field of Mars that I built here, obviously we can get rid of that and sort of build something else that will make us a better form of income, or, you know, public order, or whatever we need at the time. So that said, guys, a couple shout outs. So a big shout out to MimiCat11 or MimiCat11 and Stefan Dimitrov for being the latest subscribers to the channel. There were a couple of others, but obviously you guys are private, which is perfectly fine. So that said, guys, obviously if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. You know, what are you waiting for? Or, you know, as the channel, you know, we grow together as a channel and as a community. You know, drop this video a like and leave your thoughts, tips, tricks, feedback, all that sort of good stuff down in the comments section below. So that's it, guys. Let's end this turn and get this episode well underway. Now, here's the interesting thing, and this is a thought. These are things that keep me awake at night. So if Syracuse takes Acragas, or Epirus takes Acragas, and Carthage is no longer in Sicilia, if I invade Sicilia, does that still trigger the Punic War? Guys, I'd be interested to know. Somebody said something about there was a script in place where the second I step foot in Sicilia, obviously it triggers the first Punic War. However, does that, you know, does that only fire if Carthage has a presence in Sicilia, or with or without a presence it fires regardless? So I'd be interested to know, guys. So let me know in the comment section, so that we can, you know, have a better understanding of how to proceed, you know, in the episodes to come. And obviously I'm getting a little bit worried now. Obviously Epirus is now, you know, expanding again and increasing its power and influence. So that's obviously something we'll need to keep an eye on and keep in check. You know, those of you that are obviously familiar with this mod and familiar with Roman history and whatnot in general, obviously Epirus was quite a big pain in the backside, or pain in the ass, for the Romans. So it'll be interesting. Very, very interesting. And it would be certainly good for us to throw our legions against a bit more of a formidable opponent. So, the need for cavalry. The promise of glory, lands and titles will help draw many horsemen to your cause. Rigorous training will ensure that cavalry recruits are more effective on the battlefields. Look, we'll go with that one because historically, obviously the Romans weren't particularly very powerful cavalry faction, or they weren't known for it anyway. So one of our children has died. That's tragic. The Senate feels that the mustering of additional forces would allow us to extend Rome's borders and protect the people. Raise an army in the following settlement of Venetia et Histria. Venetia et Histria. I don't have a settlement called Venetia et Histria, do I? Latium. Italia. No, I don't. I don't. What is going on? Where is Venetia et Histria? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, it is what it is. So obviously let us recruit some more men. So we've got 7 Principes. I know you guys have been giving me a hard time. What is that? Oh, baggage train. Okay, righto. Recruiting this unit will draw from the available manpower. Baggage trains grant a bonus to enemies connected to supply lines by reducing logistics costs. A baggage train can supply armies even under harsh weather conditions and is vital for prolonged military campaigns. So that could be interesting, actually. That could be very, very interesting indeed. So where are we? Okay, so let's do... So there's no... Oh, okay. So I can't recruit them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think these are the units. So somebody mentioned that they were pretty good. They were pretty kick-ass. So we'll see. What are they? A Luciani Hoplite. Doyafore. So what we will probably do with this one is maybe, because we've got 5 units left that we can recruit, so we'll probably do the 2 Triarii, maybe. What are they? So 1,000. Maybe even these guys, because they're a bit cheaper. Oh no. So we'll do 2 cavalry. And probably a bunch of levies and missile units. So yeah, 100 patrici. So that's okay. So that's cool. And these guys here. So they don't have any men left to recruit with. That's okay. Can we? No, we'll just leave them there. Okay, minus 20% upkeep for all land units. Yeah, we'll go back to that. Alright, so what do we got? A faction rises. Okay, a war declared. Saltici, Vivisci, faction destroyed. A Volke, household enslaved debtor. Flesh pays many debts. Sounds interesting. Another enslaved debtor. Wow. Quartermaster's report. Mission failed. Or whatever. The year in history. Okay, this one's interesting. I haven't seen one of these pop up for a while. What do we got? Roman consuls, births. Attalus I Sota, ruler of Pergamon, Sicily. The Mamertines, a body of Campanian mercenaries who have been employed by Agathocles, former tyrant of Syracuse, captured the stronghold of Messina in north eastern Sicily, from which they harassed the Syracusans. The Syracusan military leader Hieron defeats them in a pitched battle at the Loganus River near Mylae, but Carthaginian forces intervened to prevent him from capturing Messana. His grateful countrymen then choose Hieron as their king and tyrant, to be known as Hieron the Second. So there we go, guys. If you want me to actually go through those year in history, guys, let me know, and you know, I'll make sure that I do, because normally that sort of thing I just kind of like bypass it. But that said, nothing else really that we want to build, is there? No, we've got our glassworks almost online. Alright, let's end the turn. Carthaginian navy. But then I suppose that's historical. Carthage's navy was always a pain in, or a big pain in the ass at the beginning of the war. I'm sure, because I can't recall off the top of my head how long the First Punic War raged. But obviously the only thing that really kept the Romans in the war was their basic, inexhaustible supply of manpower. Because fleet-wise, they had so many disasters, absolutely so many disasters. Obviously, they got smashed numerous times by the Carthaginian navy, and because they weren't a huge naval power at the time, they didn't really understand manoeuvring massive fleets around the oceans and whatnot. They lost multiple navies, because of storms, and they ran them in the shoals and. Like all sorts of disasters for the Romans in that first war, but they certainly learnt a lot. And for those of you that don't know, the Romans actually referred to the Mediterranean Sea as Mare Nostrum, which is sort of where I believe that's where the term Mediterranean is derived from today. But in sort of ancient Latin times, it roughly translates into our ocean or our sea. Rebellion, Batavium. Ready to command. This character is no longer wounded and awaits the command. That would be my wife. Mission issued. Instruments of war. Recruit the following agent. A champion. Obviously he will run away, that's what they do. We stabbed him in the foot and he died. A little bit of money there from the capturing the slaves. And we have our glass smelter. Okay, that's good. So how are we going here? Okay, so the Celtic culture is on the decline, and the Latin and the Italics are going up, which is good. That's all we need to see. More so the Latin than the Italic, but anyway. We have a few more guys to recruit. So we will put them back into their little stance. So have we discovered anybody else new and interesting? No, it doesn't look like it, does it? Okay, so where is our spy? Forces... Postumula scapula. Okay, so this army is nearly done. So we need a champion. Alright, 222, 222. They're all 222. Okay, so let's just recruit one. Martial skill +6. Okay. So let's get him in here and we'll go and sort of wreak havoc, mess some shit up, all that sort of good stuff. Those Epirote fleets just keep coming, don't they? Well, I suppose the good thing is the Epirotes, the Syracusans, and the Carthaginians keep exhausting their manpower on one another, which should hopefully, fingers crossed, make things a little bit easier for me when I get there. Should. Blackmail, Quintus Aemilius Pappus, I believe, or Primus inter pares. One of your family members is being blackmailed. Oh, that's a pretty big deal, isn't it? So let's go counter the rumours. So I think that's our leader. I'm not sure. Okay, let's send this guy in to go and we have settlement sabotage. What can we do? Raid.
Enemy must never have rest.
Your agent failed. Of course he did. So what can we do here? Rile the populace. Wreaks despair among the populace with small-scale military actions, cunning-based. This agent may not deploy this turn. Okay. So we've got the Insubres sitting here on our front door. Why are these guys dying? I don't know. Guys, Venetiki mercenari. One of these guys, Equite Samneti. So what I might do is actually like disband them and hire these new guys, I think. Because I could possibly use some extra cavalry here, couldn't I? Because that's a good looking army there. It's not a bad looking army at all. So there are the Sure. What are they? Phalanx spearmen. Bogordus. Because if I pull these guys up here, attack this settlement, then use these guys to smash that army straight away, then we've instantly got the jump on them, don't we? Yeah, we do.
Commander.
Why not? No gluts and no glory, right? Let's do it. Declaring war while having treaties or shortly after breaking them is considered an act of treachery and is condemned by all factions. Let's do it.
Good. Laying siege to the settlement.
Alright, we haven't done a siege battle thus yet, guys. So I'm going to do one. Let's do it. Let's fight this battle. Now it might take a little bit of time to load, so I guess I'm just going to have to do my my usual Aussie thing and talk shit for a little bit. But doesn't look like a huge settlement. Obviously a little bit of coastline there. So there's a garrison fleet and some naval ships that are going to come in and reinforce. They obviously won't be too much of a threat. Barbarian fleets aren't really much. Sort of even in the original Rome, barbarian fleets weren't much either. So longboats against Queen Marines and all that sort of stuff just kind of don't really cut it, I suppose. But I'm not sure. These guys here, I think one of you guys mentioned in the comments that they're like pretty kick-ass. They're pretty good, you know, for like an AOR unit. And obviously we've got our Epirotes, our Principe, which are our steamrollers, and then we've got a few javelin men. So Sweet Mercy is nobility's true badge. William Shakespeare. I'm pretty sure William Shakespeare was a fraud, wasn't he? I don't know. Disengaging cavalry unit, deactivating their formation can reduce losses suffered from pulling back. Yes. Speaking of which, one of you guys actually mentioned in the comments on one of the recent videos, you know, I did the thing where I had my cavalry in flying wedge formation, and I left them in that formation. Apparently, it tires them out. So, thanks very much for that that advice. I'll definitely be, you know, keeping that in mind. So start deployment. So first and foremost, where are our new units? Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? So they are our levies. Let us have a look at them. Pretty straightforward. Shields. You know, obviously they have javelins, I guess.
Axe warriors!
Axe warriors, okay. So they obviously don't look too heavily armoured. They've got the very simple sort of circular little breastplates there, varying sizes, simple shields. Obviously carry like a pilum or a javelin style weapon.
Ready!
So these are our Equites, which are our Patrici. So obviously, as you can see, they've got armour, they've got sort of like notes, I think that's a Boeotian style helmet, you know, horses, all that sort of good stuff. So, you know, leg greaves, so clearly patricians, because they have money, so they can afford the better armour, because obviously at this point in time, in Roman history, the state did not provide you know, weapons, so to speak, for the army. They never equipped them. Each man had to supply their own. So we'll just form up in some lines, and then we will we'll kind of go from there. And nothing really pretty about a siege battle on a you know, a city with no walls. So start the battle. So pretty straightforward. The Zubis, what are they going to do? Are they going to sally out of the town at me, are they? That's kind of foolish.
Give them what they deserve, warriors! Enemy reinforcements approaching.
Yeah, that's great. So these Gauls, seriously guys, you need to lay off the protein shakes. You know, put a bloody shirt on. So these guys, bowmen, they'll be painful and annoying, but that's okay. It is what it is. Alright, so let us... So these guys all seem kind of content to come this way. So let's get our Principe up there. Let's get our cavalry to come out wide on the flank there. So as you can see, we have longboats. Though they do look pretty cool though, the ships. That's one thing I do actually like about Rome, is when they introduced, you know, in Empire and Napoleon, is when they introduced like actual naval combat. That was pretty cool, I thought. here goes. Oh, look at that. That's what you call devastation. Yes, smash them. So obviously our skirmishers now the funny thing with the Roman legions is obviously they were so well drilled. I read somewhere that there was a rumour that Julius Caesar, I think it was his eighth legion, I think it was, his famous one, which was the one that sort of entered Rome under arms. And basically they kind of routed sort of Pompey Magnus and his supporters. The rumour that I heard was that legion was so well drilled when they threw their pilum that they'd throw them in such perfect synchronization that when the pilum went into the air, it actually looked like a massive eagle going up into the sky. I mean, obviously that's kind of like, you know, lore and and things were quite often embellished back in those times, but I mean that would be very, very cool if that was in fact real. So obviously they're kind of swinging around on that flank, so what I'll do is I'll pull the cavalry back here and I'll get the cavalry to come around sort of through these two hills here, and then once we've engaged, which looks like it's going to happen now, we will smash them from the rear. So those archers, painful as always, but it is what it is. Casualties sustained. Yep. Get them up on the hill, that way we'll get some nice, you know, we'll put them in flying wedge when we come down, and we should smash these guys quite nicely.
Into flying wedge formation! For glory!
Oh, look at that. Nice. Shattered, straight away shattered. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Get these guys to engage there. You guys can engage the general.
Orders? Hail! Back, warrior! Loose! Back, warrior! Principes! Back, warrior! March! Warriors, ready! Romans to a man! Principes! Fearless warriors! Yeah!
get a cavalry just to run around and mop up some of these guys. Maybe try and capture a few more guys so that when we enslave them at the end we'll get a bit more money out of it.
And waiting.
So Celtic warriors, these are like heavy meleemen. They look pretty cool. That guy's, I was going to say, looked like he had an afro there for a second. It's very hip, very new age. You know, at least for ancient times anyway. Epirotes. Their own version of our axe warriors. They are running. So now let's go into town.
At speed. Jupiter gives us strength.
And occupy the settlement. So get our cavalry to keep chasing these guys down. These ones 43. Yeah.
Spear infantry ready. At the double.
Epirotes. So they're a heavy melee infantry. Okay, so these guys can go and deal with the Epirotes. And the ships are just running, they're like out of there. They know better. The old Centurion in there, that's pretty cool. Let's get rid of this. So the Romans have clearly been missing leg day. The Gauls haven't. Very, very muscular, or either that the Gauls just have access to much better protein shakes. I don't know what it is. So. And that is it, guys. So that was a siege of a small, or battle anyway, for a small barbarian settlement. And how are we looking for time? Yeah, not too bad. So cavalry, as always, did great work. Principe, as to be expected, did a big portion of the heavy lifting. Our axe infantry, not too bad. There's one, 240 there, so probably I don't know, close to maybe average of 75 or so kills each. And obviously our skirmishers did a little bit of work, about 150 kills. Oh no, not quite. Yeah, nearly 150 kills between them. So obviously we deployed more than them. We only lost 123 to their 1647. So not too bad. So Servius Makula, our new general, has secured his first victory. So we'll see what happens for him as far as the standing and the ranking of things go. Experience is the teacher of all things. Look, I would probably agree with that. Anybody who's ever worked in a job for a long period of time, there's a saying that I quite like, and I can't remember who did the interview, but somebody basically said, do things get easier the better you get? Oh, what is it? Do things get easier with time? And I said, no. They said things don't get easier, you just simply get better. So that's pretty true, and I would imagine that obviously during these times, being a soldier and all that sort of good stuff, or a legionnaire, the longer you were a legion and the more pitched battles you had, then sort of the more disciplined you became, and you know, I guess the more effective at killing your enemy you would become, and all that sort of good stuff. So. Try to appear unimportant. The enemy might be low on ammunition. I don't get that. But anyway. Okay, so they were destroyed, and that fleet will retreat most likely. -1, provincial instability, -1 per turn, conquest next turn only, -15. You peacefully occupy the settlement and all captives are released. What? Money gained, 13,871, public order details. Sack. Conquests. You do not capture the settlement, but still money and damage its buildings. All captives are killed. What is this? Raise public order. Turn all destructible buildings in the settlement are destroyed. All captives are killed. Population is massively reduced. Liberate. You return the original owners of this region to power, thereby resurrecting their faction. All captives are released. We'll just occupy. they're retreating a long way away. That's a long way to retreat. So Servius Armenius Macula has increased in rank. So Genua is now under our command. So first and foremost, we will destroy the barbarian settlements. How is our army looking? They are reinforcing. Interesting. Okay. So obviously we will put these guys in normal stance. So we'll keep this one moving.
Gods of the afterlife, spare my arse. Well, why do you trouble my digestion today?
Why do you trouble my digestion today? I love it. So they approve our treaties with Nori, past war with Veneti, military actions against Veneti, battle support for Liguria, cultural aversion, military actions against Nori, military actions against, past war with Liguria, expansionism, broken treaties with Liguria. It is what it is, unfortunately. I don't think they're going to like us either way we go. So it is what it is. And what about these guys? Treaties with Maasili. Okay. Alright. So, guys, obviously, Rome expands. Genua is under our control. Medlan is in our sights. So, first up, next episode, guys, we will have a battle. We will have a Legio 1 Apollinaris against the Glory of Epona. So if I just have a quick look at those guys, they're not too bad of a looking force. I'm not sure whether they will be able to, you know, stand up to the might of our veteran legions under our leader, Primus Inter Paris. So if we have a quick look at our family stuff, that's right, our baby died. We have a daughter now, so that's interesting. So what can this guy do? So educate, send a character away for tutoring. Adopt, no we don't really want to adopt. Improve relations, spread rumours, gather support, and what about our wife? She is back. So what can she do? Do a favour, send a gift, send a diplomat, organise games, send emissaries, send the politician to a province to help with their base necessities, well, food. How about we send her to Syracuse again? It is what it is. She's given us 4 children, 3 of which are still alive. So if anything bad happens to her, well, she shouldn't have betrayed us. But anyway, so that's it, guys. I'm going to end this episode here. You know, obviously, thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, smash that subscribe button, drop this video a like, and leave your thoughts, tips, tricks, all that good stuff in the comments section below. I will endeavour to, obviously respond to and comment on, the comments that are sort of useful and relevant and all that sort of good stuff. And obviously, if you are new to the channel, guys, and you smash that subscribe button, feel free to say hi, and I will personally welcome you to the channel. But that said, this is Down Under Gamers signing off. I hope you all have an awesome day. Cheers.